years. Lee has put an unquantifiable amount of hours into Suffs for years and years, fiercely protecting the show at all costs, creating and spearheading this stunning production, leading us all with tenacity, rigor, and humanity, and becoming the first director ever of any gender to have not one but 2 Broadway shows filmed for PBS Great Performance. I love you so much. Thank you for everything. Okay, I just want to set an expectation. This is going to be like 4 minutes. So if you want to sit, stand, whatever. But it's cool. I just want to make sure you're okay. We're okay? All right. It is January 5th, 2025. Thank God, by luck of the calendar, it's not January 6th, so we can remember this anniversary in peace. Record show we were here, a century of history and a decade of creation in the making for one exhilarating year, 8 times a week. We were here at the Music Box, telling this story over 300 times for thousands of people. Thanks to the love, sweat, and tears of many great American bitches on this stage and beyond. No matter what fresh hell was going on out there, we were here. Thank you to my entire Suffs family for the resilient, radiant community we built together. Thank you. And all of you were here too. All of you out there who saw us, who heard us, who came back again and again with your sisters and grandmas and nephews, who played our songs for your students and friends, who wrote us beautiful letters and made gorgeous fan art, who cheered us on, giving us the momentum for this thrilling Broadway run, a cast recording, a pro shot, and a national tour. All of you who were motivated by this story to get out and vote and volunteer and phone bank this year, maybe for the first time. All of you who celebrated with us, who processed with us, who held us up. Thank you. Thank you for supporting our show. We were all here, so now what? How are we going to keep marching despite everything? What would the Suffs do? How can we actually learn as much from their successes as their mistakes? How can we summon the strength to show up at the gates even after a bitter defeat? How can we conjure the courage of Ida's pen, the resonance of Inez's voice, the empathy of Harry's mother? How can we tactically embrace both the fire and the tea? How can we recognize we are not each other's enemies even when we differ? How can we resolve to never seek our own freedom at the expense of someone else's? How can we remember all struggles for liberation will always be intertwined? How can we stay active and engaged without burning out? How can we hold the rage and despair we rightly feel at the end of this brutal year and keep trying to find the way? Find a way! At the stage door after the show, I've had the privilege of meeting so many wonderful audience members. In the wake of the election, when I talk to adults out there, I often hear some fatigue and dread in their voices. I get it. I really, really do. I am absolutely exhausted too, and the next 4 years feel really scary. But I've got to tell you, I will leave this theater with hope in my heart, and that is because of all the kids I've met at our show. I meet so many young people from kindergartners through to undergrads, and their eyes are lit up with possibility. They love to tell me about how they're becoming artists and activists, how they started an equality club at their school, or spoke at a rally, or ran for student council, or wrote a protest song. So I hope when you think of our show, it inspires you to ask yourself, how are we going to leave a better world for those kids? How are we going to show up for the next Doris, the next Phyllis, the next Ruja? How are we going to make sure every loud little girl knows we have her back and will fight like hell for her autonomy? of resistance as insistence. And I love that. So how are we going to insist that every child deserves to grow up in a country where they are valued, supported, and given equal opportunities to thrive? Ask yourself, what are you going to insist on this year? What are we going to insist on? Because this story we told on the stage clearly isn't over. It never is. The Suffs didn't live to see their efforts realized. We won't either, but the next generation might. And that is reason enough to continue the work. So, really, we will always be here. Long past January 5th, long past the music box. Suffs belongs to the future now. To the 7th grader in Kentucky who listens to our album and learns who Mary Church Terrell was. To the girls who get cast as Alice and Lucy in high school and become best friends for life. To the dad who plays Dudley at his community theater and feels proud to reflect. To the young writer who falls down the rabbit hole of history and creates her own musical about Carrie and Molly's love story. To the kids who see themselves represented by this phenomenal original cast on PBS and realize there's a place for them in the spotlight too. American musicals are generational projects that demand participation, just like democracy. And starting today, we send this one out into the world. Take it, run with it, it's yours now. May it be of good use to you for years to come, and know that no matter what, the Suffs will always be behind you, marching together in the dark. Thank you.